Trump's gag order in the New York criminal trial is Janice Hisle, reporter at the Epoch Times. She did a special report on the gag order recently and spoke with many legal experts. Janice, thank you so much for joining us. Great to see you again. Now, bring us up to speed on what happened in court today and Trump's response.
Well, the judge did issue that $9,000 fine. That was $1,000 for each of 9 Truth Social posts that the judge thought violated his order. Now, 5 of those 7 posts were made by the former president himself, and 2 were by his campaign. And most of those focused on his ex-lawyer, Michael Cohen, who is considered a key witness in the case. Now, the judge ordered these posts to be removed today, and I did check, and it does look like that all of those posts were removed. If the former president and his staff did not remove those posts, he was looking at possibly being thrown in jail.
And Janice, how are people reacting to the judge's decision to hold Trump in contempt?
Supporters of the former president are actually reposting screenshots of these forbidden posts saying, hey, these are the posts that the judge doesn't want you to see. So that's kind of an interesting reaction there. And legal analyst Jonathan Turley, he has pointed out several apparent contradictions in this judge's order. For example, the judge says, on one hand, hey, it doesn't look like any other courts have ruled whether a simple reposting of someone else's words or an article violates a gag order. And normally under these circumstances, Mr. Turley said that the judge would issue a clarifying order, but instead he issued punishment. And finally, President Trump himself made a statement after court today. He said he was honored to be the Republican nominee, but it's terrible and unconstitutional to restrict his speech under these circumstances. In fact, he called this situation a disgrace.
Now, the gag order itself has been subject to a lot of debate. What is that debate about?
Mainly, that debate centers on 2 controversies. Is it fair, or is that order unconstitutional? The fairness of it is being debated because it is a one-sided order. Now, normally when judges issue a gag order to restrict people's speech in any kind of a criminal or civil case, the idea is that it's generally applied to all parties, prosecution, defense, and any witnesses or anybody connected to the case in any way. This order, however, focuses only on President Trump and his team, not on the prosecution. So the fairness is very much debatable here because it allows his critics, such as Mr. Cohen, his former lawyer, to go out and say whatever he wants publicly, and President Trump is pretty much stuck and just can't respond. Now, on the constitutional question, that is, one of the biggest things that makes it a huge question here is that this is happening in the context of a presidential election, which has ramifications for our entire nation. And so that is another huge reason this is being debated.
Given all that you just laid out, how is the judge justifying his order?
This all came about because the prosecutors complained that Trump has intimidated people, they say, with his social media posts. They say that, they're expressing concern that witnesses might be reluctant to participate in the trial. And the judge said, okay, so I'm going to tailor this order narrowly to protect President Trump's free speech rights while protecting the integrity of the criminal process.
On that note, could the gag order be reversed?
Yes, President Trump's lawyers have appealed, and also an independent New York lawyer who has no connection to Trump or his team. He's just a concerned citizen who happens to be an attorney in New York. He has filed a challenge, and I believe that's due for a hearing next week. He argues that any gag order must be tied to an effort to protect someone's constitutional rights. Usually, it's the right of the defendant to a fair trial, and it's going against the prosecution from making all kinds of statements in the public that could taint the jury pool. But Judge Marchand's order makes no such linkage, according to this lawyer, and he says it's just to further the state's interest in the fair administration of justice. But the problem with that is that claim could be made about virtually any scenario. And so this could possibly encourage prosecutors to start trying to seek gag orders against whoever might be in front of a judge. And that could pose a concern for every American. In fact, one expert I talked to told me this is much bigger than Trump.
Janice Hisle, reporter at the Epoch Times, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.